Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I don't do YouTube, but I have a topic that is quite passionate to me right now. It's something that I'm currently going through that I am slowly recovering from. So I just thought, you know what, someone in this world might benefit from some of the learnings that I had, hence this video. I'm gonna talk really quickly about symptoms that I personally experienced when I finally realized and recognized that I was burnt out, because it took a while for me. And then I'll spend the bulk of the time actually on things that I did to start to get back on my feet, to start to feel better. And we'll talk about healing our mental health, but also the physical health, because they truly do go hand in hand. So I want to touch on food and workout and sleep, because I do think that part of this process of recovering from burnout is it does require a holistic effort, like the full shebang, if you will. So let's get into it. For me personally, and context for the work that I do, I'm in management consulting. I've worked for the last 5 years, and it's a pretty high stress environment. Sometimes I would hit 70 or 80 hours a week. I think for a while I have noticed that I was restless. Like, I would try to get as much sleep as possible on the weekends, but I still felt like I wasn't fully rested or relaxed. But it wasn't until there would be like certain tasks that normally I would be quite okay doing, but I would start to feel overwhelmed and started getting anxious and start not wanting to associate with people. Like, I just wanted my own personal time. I didn't really want to talk to anyone else. And that's not very like me at all. I think when I started to notice those things, I realized, maybe there's something wrong with me. And I kind of just went on with this for about a year. I still worked, and I dreaded waking up I dreaded Sunday mornings because I would already have Sunday blues and thinking about going back to work. But I kind of went with it for a while, which I, in retrospect, shouldn't have done so. And it all kind of just fell on me the last 2 months, I would say, and got to a point where work was just so overwhelming and I had zero motivation that it didn't make sense for me to continue working. And luckily for me, I was able to find a time off policy at work. And I also applied for short-term disability leave because my therapist realized, you know what, she does truly need time off to like completely heal from this. So I was able to apply and get that processed, which actually takes a while. But if there's kind of one main advice I have for you as you're going through this yourself, potentially, is I would definitely look and see if your work setting is able to provide some sort of time off. I mean, obviously you can, tap into your PTO, but there may be more sick days available in your state. There may be like a mental health leave you could take advantage of, or this short-term disability leave. So I would just seek and see if there's any resources that you could take advantage of, because taking time off is so important as you start to kind of heal and recover from this process. So those are some of my symptoms, like restless, increased anxiety, increased depression, and I had some of them at baseline, but they definitely worsened in the course of last few months. Ultimately at the end of it, I just had zero motivation for anything, for myself, for work, whatever. So things that I did, and I truly believe now that I am looking back, I truly believe that getting out of burnout is something that requires a holistic kind of end-to-end effort. It's not just about like focusing and healing your mental health. I do think that there is a physical health associated with it. They truly do go together. So here's what I did. One, I really wanted to focus on my mental health, and I was lucky enough to get therapy. And I've learned about therapy before. I knew that it was helpful to people, but I kind of figured, you know what, I'll need it when I need it, but not right now. I definitely needed it. So that's the first thing I did after I took time off, was to find a therapist. I just went on Grow Therapy, which is an online platform. You can filter by the insurance coverage that you have, the ethnicity, the gender of your therapist, and obviously your location. And I found a therapist right away, someone that I clicked with, that, I was able to like freely open up to. And it was kind of weird because our first therapy session, I kind of opened up to her about everything, and I've never cried so much in my life either. But it was just someone that I felt comfortable being vulnerable to. So, hopefully you can find someone like that. But there's lots of different therapy services and options out there. And if you do have health insurance, I would call up your insurance company to see who might be in coverage, because if so, you may have a really low copay or may not even have to pay anything. Obviously, I know therapy isn't something that everybody can access, so some of the other options could be you may have a close confidant, whether that's your friend, your sibling, maybe another family member who could be your sounding board. Or like a mentor in a professional or religious organization that you trust. But I think there is just so much power in being able to open up about what you're going through. Yes, a lot of these things are surfacing because of work, but there may be other underlying like root drivers that could be childhood traumas, right? Family related things, so many different factors. So I do highly recommend just, finding someone who you could really open up to. So that's kind of the first thing I did with mental health. The second thing on focusing on my mental health was I tried to rediscover my hobbies, because I've lost a lot of them in the past few months. And so things like cooking and singing, hosting dinners for friends, these are things that I sort of neglected. So since I had time off, I really tried to get back on them. Try to cook out of a recipe book. I tried to host more dinners, and at first it was a little bit hard because I didn't really want to be surrounded with people, but very quickly, right, because it's something that I innately love, I started to enjoy it. Now I try to host dinners or lunches once or twice a week. Or just singing in my room. Like I love doing that. I just kind of put that aside in the past few months. On the physical health side, there's really 3 things that I focused on. 1 is what I ate and what I'm still eating. 2 is working out, and 3 is sleep. So on food, I realized for the first time in a long time that there's certain foods that I am quite insensitive to. And I've had for the longest time GI digestive problems. Like I get heartburns every other day. I have this thing called globus sensation, I think, where I basically feel like something is stuck in my throat. And this happens almost all the time when I feel stressed, almost all the time when I'm thinking about work. And I did get this checked out by head and neck doctor. They basically said, my throat is very inflamed because of like the stomach acids. And the best thing to do is take Pepcid. So I've been taking more Pepcid now, and it's helping to a certain extent. But I also realized that there's certain foods that's giving me more heartburns, that's giving me more of these stomach issues like indigestion, bloating, feeling gassy. So I started paying attention to them more. And over the course of last few weeks that I've been experiencing with this, I realized that my body doesn't really like dairy, spicy food, sour food, or even red meat, especially beef, which is honestly kind of unfortunate, but at the same time, it was a little bit mind-boggling just how much better I felt. So for example, I usually go to our local pho restaurant and would order like a beef pho, and I love that stuff. But at the end, like after I eat it, I usually feel bloated and gassy for the rest of the day. And I didn't really pay attention to this. I didn't really mind it, honestly. But one day I decided, you know what, I'm gonna order veggie pho. Like I would never in a million years order a veggie pho from a beef pho restaurant, but I did. And it was amazing. Like I felt so much better. I was still full, I was satiated. I had enough tofu, I had enough veggies, right? Fiber, protein, all of that. I felt lighter, I didn't feel bloated. I didn't feel gassy. Like, it was kind of a miracle. So ever since then, I have been trying, and it's hard because I love food so much, but I have been trying to stay away from food that my body doesn't like and focusing on gut health, like really healing my gut health. The second thing I've been doing as it's related to food is intermittent fasting. And I'm doing this for two reasons. One, I gained about 15 pounds in the last 4 or 5 months that I'm trying to like slowly shed off because it's better for my health. But the second reason for this is I realized that I actually love the feeling of being in a fasting state. So what I do is I'll finish dinner around 8:30, sometimes 9 p.m. And then I won't eat until 11 a.m. or noon the next day. So I have like 13, 14, 15 hours of fasting period. And that fasting period has been so helpful for me, especially in the morning. Like I feel like I can concentrate better, I feel lighter, and especially when I'm working out while I'm in that fasting state, I feel more productive and like actually more energetic. So it's kind of a weird thing, you know, you would imagine that they sort of kind of offset each other, but I personally benefited a lot from it, so I'm doing it. I know that it's not for everybody, but there is quite a bit of articles and literature out there, so, you know, it might be worth just looking at them to see it might be a good fit for you. So that's what I've been doing on the diet food front. Working out is a second component to this, and, you know, I don't like working out. I don't like going to the gym. I'm the type of person who will get a membership for a year and will forget about it or just like won't go to the gym. And I think the reason why is because I don't like doing the same thing over and over again, and I kind of felt like that's what I was doing, going to the same gym. Yes, I would change up my routines, but it would still feel very habitual and not very exciting. So I got ClassPass, which is an app that I used several years back in New York as well. Essentially, this app partners with neighboring studios in major cities across the states, but they also have them in suburbs too. And you get like X number of credits for, you know, per month. You can use those credits to sign up for classes that you want to. So through ClassPass, I did kickboxing, regular boxing, bar class, spin class, yoga, hot yoga, dancing, and they also have gyms as well. And I tried a bunch of these things and realized that the thing that I like the most is spin classes because they are high intensity and it's loud music. Like I love the feeling of being in a club. And so personally for me, that worked really well. And so at the beginning, it was kind of hard, right? Because, you know, as you're trying to recover from burnout, you have zero motivation to do anything. But I try to force myself to go, hey, one class a week. Let's just go and see what it's about. And then if I don't like it, I don't do it again. But I liked it enough to where now I am trying to work out 3 times a week. And I actually look forward to going to these classes. So, you know, I highly recommend that because one, not only do you feel stronger, do you feel better about yourself and just the fact that you're being more productive, but the second thing is you feel confident, you feel more proud that you actually took this step to do something that is good for you. So I would just figure out like, maybe there is a workout that you do like, or maybe you need that little extra whether that is an accountability friend, whether that is a cute new outfit, like a workout outfit that you would look forward to going to workout classes with, or even like a fancy water bottle, like a hydro flask, whatever it might be. But finding that thing that'll help you start to work out, because I do think that there's a lot of advantages to that. The last thing is sleep. So this is something that I honestly didn't really think about that much, but I was listening to a podcast, and I'm actually gonna link it down below because it talks about the 5 stages of burnout, and it's really, really helpful. But in the podcast, they were talking about taking small steps to get better in your burnout. They talked about, you know, taking vitamin D and how important that is. I think they touched upon sleep as well, or maybe I'm thinking about another podcast from the same channel. But regardless, I realized that there's certain things that I have been neglecting in my sleep, like how I sleep, the environment in which I sleep, that has been kind of detrimental to my sleep cycle. And for the longest time, like I wouldn't be able to sleep continuously. I would have maybe 2 or 3 hours in between where I would just randomly wake up in the middle of the night and I couldn't go back to sleep. And it was really, really bad because I would just feel tired all the time. So I started making small improvements because I've noticed that certain things I can do better. So for example, my pillow, it's not that comfortable. It gives me a shoulder pain every day. So I'm experimenting with different ones right now. The temperature in which I sleep, I realize I like to sleep cold, but I don't always turn on the fan. So I've tried to change that. It could be, a blackout curtain, or it could be your actual, like the sheets and the linens. Maybe you don't actually feel comfortable, or maybe they don't keep you cool, whatever it might be. But obviously sleep is so important for our body, and there may be little tweaks that you might be able to make that'll help you get better sleep. So that was helpful for me, at least. So those are some of the things that I am still working on. Very much work in progress. I haven't 100% perfected them and mastered them, but I hope that this will help anyone out there who might be feeling some of the symptoms that I have talked about. And I really just hope that, right, we can all come out of this as a stronger version of ourselves, that we can come back 100%, 110%. Because I do think that it is very much possible. So thank you guys for watching this, and I hope it's helpful, and let me know if there's any other learnings or advice that you might also have if you're going through it too. But thanks so much. Bye.